All right, what is up, everybody? We are back here for week 10 of Pete's Power Rankings. Yes, I'm ranking all 32 NFL teams from top to bottom. I'm watching 99% of all these games, taking notes, keeping tabs. I'm going through, slotting them all down. We're pretty firm on where our tiers are. There are still a few surprises. We're halfway through the NFL season officially. I can't believe it's already almost over. But let's get into it here. We're going to go 32 through 24. These are your bottom of the barrel teams. They've all been scrapping around here. Now, there is some movement to be made here because everybody just feels like they're all piled up. There are no fantastic records. There's a lot of flawed football teams out here, but these are not the best teams. Let's go through real quick here. 32 through 24. Okay, the bottom tier teams here. Texans still at the bottom. It's the Texans. I like them. They're scrappy. Lovie Smith's doing a good job, but they need a quarterback. They have 1,000 picks. They're going to be fine. You know, Pittsburgh, Carolina, kind of The biggest losers down here, the Las Vegas Raiders. They hadn't blown more than two 17-point leads in the entire history of the franchise. They've now blown three 17-point leads this season. Absolutely unacceptable. The defense is horrendous. The offensive line isn't good. Derek Carr has not been sharp. I mean, Devontae Adams you got at least. Josh Jacobs has been nice. But man, Josh McDaniels already on the hot seat, it feels like. Not a good team. Saints, Lions showing some life, beating Green Bay at home. Colts, a total dumpster fire, 3-5-1, firing their head coach, hiring Jeff Saturday. He's never had a head coaching job in college or the NFL. First NFL coach to do that since like 1960-something. Ridiculous. The Broncos, they were on a bye, so whatever, we'll see. Cardinals, not really moving anything here. They were okay, they were competitive, but Kyler seemed to always be bitching about something. He was yelling at Hopkins again. Cliff Kingsbury's gonna get fired. It's a real ugly situation, it looks like, in the desert coming up here. You just spent all this money on this quarterback, and it's not working out. But, all right, let's move into our next tier of teams, kind of your middle tier teams. They could all sort of move back into the playoffs. They have really bright moments. They have some really bad moments, but there's some interesting teams in here that could find themselves in the postseason. Okay, these are your middle tier teams, 23 through 16. Some interesting teams in here, a lot of high risers and a couple of fallers. Green Bay at the bottom of this, they're an absolute disaster. Lost to Detroit. Aaron Rodgers, 2 red zone interceptions for the first time in his entire career. There's no cohesion on this team. There's a lot of complaining. They're just not good at all, the Packers. I've been right about the Packers all season, and they're just proving me right. So I like that. Jaguars showing some life. Nice comeback against the bad Raiders team. Chicago, I would be ecstatic if I was a Chicago Bears fan. You sold off the defense, and that's going to keep you from actually winning football games this year. But man, Justin Fields has really turned a corner the last 3 weeks. Been fantastic since that Monday night game in New England. He's running the football well. Still not throwing for a lot of yards, but when he can run it and throw it semi-accurately and it makes defenses freeze, he can make plays. They got some good wide receivers now on the outside. Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool added to that. I like this. They're all in on the offense here, so they're a high mover. Browns were on a bye, but they move up just based on teams. Commanders, another strong showing against a very good Vikings team. They kind of let that one slip away. They got to be kicking themselves in the foot. They got the benefit of a referee truck stick on their touchdown, but they still can't pass the football. Heineke has moments of brilliance, but he had 79 yards without this miracle pass play. So, I mean, it's really suspect on offense. The defense is strong. The front 5 are fantastic for Washington. They get after the quarterback, and Chase Young is going to be coming back here soon. They got the Eagles coming up this week. Should be a really interesting game. Rams, one of the worst offenses in football. The defense is still strong, keeping them in games, but the offense is shit. I don't want to hear any of this Matt Stafford Hall of Famer talk. He is the Matt Stafford we know that we all saw in Detroit for a decade. Turns the ball over, not good in big games. He's stat Padford. He loves padding stats when he's blown out. The defense won them that championship last year and a wide open Cooper Kupp. He's bad this year. Falcons dropped down. They really should have beat the Chargers this week, but kind of fell down. They're still right in the hunt. They're tied for first place with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The GOAT has still got it. His 69th career comeback win. Nice. But he's fantastic. They moved the ball. They scored in 39 seconds to win that game against the Rams. It was a must-win for the Buccaneers, and it's all to play for. They're tied for first place at 4-5. It's been a disaster of a season up to the start, but Tom's a free man and single now, so he could be winning some games. But now it's time to get into the juicy part, what y'all came here for, your top 15 teams. But before we get into that, drop a quick like on this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're not already subbed to the channel, click that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out a lot. We're growing like crazy. All right, so let's get into it. It's a familiar foe. It's a familiar team to the rest of the league in the NFL. They're finally cracking the top 15. Okay, at number 15, I got Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Yes, Bill and the Patriots are back in the top 15. Everybody loves to see it. I'm just kidding. I'm sure we all hate it. Patriots defense is fantastic. An elite group of guys out there. They are taking the football away. They are stopping people from scoring. And they score on defense, which is a must have. Because the offense for New England is kind of, flat. Say what you want about Mac Jones. He just ain't that kind of guy. They really struggle to move the ball at points in time. They do have some nice moments throwing the football. They're really banged up at wide receiver. They can run the ball pretty well with Ramondre Stevenson as the now cemented #1 back, it feels like. But they still struggle to score points. They kick a lot of field goals. If you got Nick Folk in fantasy, you're having a monster year from your kicker, man. It feels like he's putting up double-digit points every single week. And luckily for them, the defense and special teams are scoring touchdowns and or putting the offense on like the 5-yard line to go punch it in, which they could absolutely do. So this is a very defensive heavy team. The offense is not good, just like we thought it wouldn't be. But it's a competitive football team. It's a good division. They're 5-4, and Bill Belichick knows how to scheme up everybody. They're an interesting team. They got a bye this week coming up, and then they got, a couple of big games this way. I don't think they're going to win the division. It is slightly open now since around the question marks with Josh Allen's elbow. If he's out for significant time, division's all to play for. Miami, New England, the Jets, all teams that could win this division. You just don't know. But for right now, I got Bill and the Patriots at number 15. Okay, at number 14, I got the LA Chargers. Yeah, they won the game in Atlanta, but it was ugly. Nice to see a kicker finally making a game-winning kick for the Chargers, but man, the offense can just not score points. The Falcons were the bottom-tier passing defense coming into this week, and they managed to score 17 points. Now, I know they're very banged up all across the board in LA, especially at the wide receiver position. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, your top two guys, both out. But still, they could not move the football downfield at all. You still have a good tight end in Everett. Palmer had a really nice day, and you got Austin Eckler out of the backfield that can catch a football. So I just don't love this coaching staff. Brandon Staley and Herbert, they're winning games, which is nice. They're 5-3, but man, they cannot throw the ball downfield. They don't seem to have a cohesion on offense. There's no rhythm whatsoever, and it's really inexcusable from a pass game, a passing quarterback, a guy like Herbert. You should be able to sling the rock downfield, no problem. Defense was a much improved unit this week. They really did a good job at stopping the run, relatively speaking. They were the worst run defense in football coming into the game. So really nice for them to shut down the Atlanta running offense, because Atlanta, they don't do much great on offense, but their running game is fantastic. So it was good for the defense there. This team is super banged up. Maybe if they get healthy, we can trust them to get in. They're not winning this division is the problem. They're keeping pace with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs just seem to always win football games and be too much. But I very much see the Chargers in the playoffs with a wild card spot this year. I just don't like their head coach. I think they need to move on from him. Sean Payton available next year. You fire Brandon Staley, bring in Sean Payton to run with your young quarterback, and they get real frightening very quickly in LA. Okay, at number 13, I got the New York Jets. Yes, the Jets, Jets, with a huge, massive, franchise-defining win for the Robert Saleh era. They beat the Buffalo Bills at home, and not only did they look good, they dominated that game. They were physical up front. I know the final score was 20-17, but this defense was lights out. It was the #1 scoring offense in football. They held them to 17 points. They were physical up front. The front defensive line really gets after it. They put the quarterback under duress, and these cornerbacks are locked down in the secondary. Sauce Gardner, it is Sauce Island. He's only a rookie, and he already feels like a top 3 corner in the NFL. He's been absolutely as advertised and fantastic. I love me to Sauce. He's great. This is an energized group of guys. They play great defense. Offensively, they're very limited at quarterback with Zach Wilson. He just hasn't been great, but he was pretty good this week. He's starting to develop. Hopefully, you need them to pass the football. The running game was strong. Once Robinson gets integrated fully into the offense after trading for him from Jacksonville, I know you lost Breece Hall. It's a big knockdown. If they had kept Breece Hall, if Breece Hall wasn't injured, this team would be really, really scary. And they'd be in first place, I think, right now in the division. They'd probably be the favorite to win the AFC East with Josh Allen's injury, pending how long it is. But you got a little knockdown in the run game. It's still good. You got to keep running the football. Zach Wilson has to be accurate. Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, has had a really nice showing. I like him a lot. You got a solid tight end in Tyler Conklin. This Jets team is right on the rise. I hope they keep this up. I think they're going to get into the playoffs, which would be really fun to finally end that streak. This is a team you don't really want to play them most Sundays, especially in New York, outside, in bad weather in the upcoming months. They're going to play great defense. They're going to run the football and make life really difficult for some of these high-power offenses. We just saw it with Buffalo. I'd really like to see them against the Chiefs. It would be fun to watch. But for now, Jets at 13. Keep an eye on this young, spunky team. Okay, I'm dropping the Giants down 2 spots even though they were on a bye because they lost a bye. They had their starting safety, Xavier McKinney, out for the season with an ATV accident or some shit like that, I heard. I don't know, but they got injured, so they managed to lose the bye. I'm just kind of losing my heat on the Giants, man. They had already lost to Seattle head-to-head, so I got to put Seattle in front of them. I know I kept them in front of Seattle last week, but man, they just feel super limited at quarterback. They're so Saquon Barkley reliant. They got to run the football. The defense has been okay. It needs to be a little bit better. I think we're going to get to the part of the year where the Giants' mirage kind of falls off. They're the one team that we all thought was a fraud coming into this season. As far as, record-wise, their hot start. What were they, 6-1 coming in? 5-1? I don't remember. But they were really, really good. They're kind of fall off here down the stretch. Got a good division in the NFC East. They still got to play the Cowboys in Dallas. They still got to play the Eagles a couple of times, I think. So they got a lot. They got to play Minnesota also. This Giants team's going to come back down to earth. They should be one of the wildcard teams. I expect them to get to a 10 or 11 wins. That's more than good enough to get a wildcard spot in the NFC. But not really feeling the Giants right now. Okay, keeping them at number 11 here, Seattle Seahawks. Nice road division win against the Cardinals. Kind of dysfunctional. They were losing this game. Geno Smith threw a back-breaking pick 6 that really looked like was going to turn this thing around, but he responded. He marched down the field, touchdown to Tyler Lockett. They can run the football with Kenneth Walker. He's going to be your rookie of the year, and if he's not, I don't know what is going on. He's been absolutely fantastic out of the backfield. Geno is Geno. He's 32 years old. He seems to have matured. He takes care of the football most of the time. That was his first real bad turnover there. He's efficient. The offense moves around him. He's got decent receivers. He gets the ball to them quickly out of the hands, and they can run the football against most fronts. I mean, the Cardinals have a good run defense, and they grinded out yards. So this was really nice. The defense for the Seahawks has been a real key. They were kind of up and down, kind of mediocre. They're getting a lot better. The secondary was their weak part. They got a couple of rookies in the backfield that are really stepping up down there. So I like this team. They're scrappy. They're in first place. They're 6-3. Who could have saw that? The division is the only problem. Thankfully, the Rams seem to be a dumpster fire, but I would watch out for the 49ers. They could sneak up on you really quick with that dynamic offense and the addition of Christian McCaffrey, and they're going to get healthy here. They've been pretty banged up, and it's not been serious injuries. It's been a lot of nicks and this and that, so they're going to get a lot of reinforcements coming up here. But good for Seattle, good for Pete. He's done a fantastic job coaching this team. I got him at 11 now, but don't be surprised if they sneak into the top 10. Okay, number 10, I'm dropping the Titans a couple spots here. Man, this team really showed out against Kansas City on Sunday night in Kansas City. They had no quarterback. Ryan Tannehill's been dealing with an ankle issue. Malik Willis started again. He's completed 11 passes in 2 games. He really is not ready. He doesn't feel like he's a year away. He feels like he might be 2 years away, if ever. He is not a good passer of the football, so they are super one-dimensional, and they had to run the football with Derrick Henry. And guess what? They ran it super effectively against the Chiefs team that knew what they were doing, that has a good defense, that knows what they got to do, that can stop people. There are some issues on the back end for the Chiefs, but that front seven for the KC is really, really strong. And Tennessee kind of pushed them around. And the defense, Mike Vrabel has this defense playing lights out football. They shut down the Chiefs for what felt like 3.5 quarters. Mahomes made some magic on 3rd and 17, running around, scrambling to run and pick up the first down. If he doesn't do that, Tennessee gets out of this game with a win. I got to knock them down 2 spots because I think they're very limited if they got to rely on Malik long term. But if they can get Tannehill back, it really opens up the passing game. They needed some wide receivers, though. Man, you got rid of A.J. Brown. 0 completions to a wide receiver on Sunday night. They just lack separation, eliteness on the outside. I know they're all in on running the football, but you got to have a threat out there to make teams respect you. So I think there's a limited ceiling, but great on Mike Vrabel. He is a really good head coach. They play his nose of football. He can scheme it up with the best of everybody, it seems like. His defenses step up in big moments. But for right now, super limited offensively. This should win the AFC South. It's a horrible division, so they're going to get a home team, and you never know what happens in the playoffs. Number 9, I got the Cincinnati Bengals back up. I'm rebuying the Bengals socks. I didn't fully sell on the Bengals, but they did what I asked them to do. I know they're playing the lowly Panthers, but I was begging them, get Joe Mixon involved in the offense, run the football, and they absolutely did that. Joe Mixon, 5 total touchdowns this weekend. They needed to rely on the running game. Establish a run game, guys. Take some of that pass rush off of your offensive line, off of Joe Burrow. You have great wide receivers on the outside. If they can weather this storm without Jamar Chase for the next few weeks, they're going to be in really good shape. The Bengals are a fantastic football team offensively. Defense, it's a no-name defense that plays lights out. They have been so good. Honestly, this was the worst second half they played all season, but the score was 35-0 going into halftime. So they checked out. I'm sure they had a few backups in there. It's a really well-rounded team. They just got to protect Joe Burrow. They got to continue establishing the run, and then they can throw the football when they need to. Honestly, the worst part of this team is their head coach. I don't think Zach Taylor's a very good head coach. Get a good head coach in there, and this is a Super Bowl team. This is an AFC powerhouse for years to come. So I'm going to keep the Bengals up here at 9, but they could easily jump up. They're currently in second in the division, but it's going to be a dogfight at the end. Okay, number 8, the Miami Dolphins. This is a really nice football team, a fun story here out in Miami. They're doing a really good job. Tua Tagovailoa, say what you want about the man, but he's undefeated in games that he started and finished this season. Their only 3 losses are the 2 games he didn't start and the game he was injured and left in. So he's been fantastic. The offense is electric. Tyreek Hill leads the NFL in receiving yards, and Jalen Waddle's up there also. It's a home run waiting to happen on offense. Mostert has been a nice addition to the backfield for them, and Wilson now getting at the trade deadline from San Francisco. They got a good option at running backs that can catch the football. It's a really strong team. They're just limited. I don't know what Tua's arm is going to be able to do in cold weather, in big spots. You're going to have to see a lot of bubble screens, a lot of short routes, and hope Waddle and Hill can bust something. The defense is going to be the downfall of this team. They gave up 32 points to the Bears. They just really struggle to stop people now. They did add to the defensive line, but it didn't seem to help much. They can't stop anybody in the secondary. They play a lot of man, and they get toasted from the man, especially when it comes to, we saw mobile quarterbacks. Justin Fields set the rushing game record for the regular season from a quarterback with 178. That's the problem when you play man. Everybody bails out. Nobody's got the quarterback. He takes off. So they got to fix this defense. I don't think they're going to be able to get it fixed in time. This will be a playoff team. They're going to get limited by on the road in cold weather because they're going to probably be a wild card team. Maybe they win the division. They have beaten the Bills already, but they still got to go to Buffalo. We'll see. Like the Dolphins a good bit, but I think they're limited. Okay, the Niners here at number 7. Got them dropping a spot. They were on a bye. Nothing really on their fault. I just think a team behind them played really well this week and was impressive. I like San Francisco. We know all about San Francisco. The offense should be dynamic. They got great running back in Christian McCaffrey. They got Deebo, wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk is having a very strong season. They got George Kittle. He'll block with the best of them. And if you need to, he will absolutely go run a great route and go catch a football. This is a fantastic team. The defense has to get healthier. They got to get the D-line patched up and the secondary patched up. But once they do, this is a very strong football team. I'd be afraid of them. The limiting factor is Jimmy Garoppolo. How far is Jimmy G going to take you? He's been healthy for 2 seasons in San Francisco, and they've been to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game. So the sky's the limit for San Fran. It's just, can they stay healthy? Can Jimmy G keep doing what he's doing and not fold under pressure? I like the Niners a lot here. They should be in they're part of the final 4 tier of the NFC teams. I think there's 3 teams that are probably going to be playing Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game, and they're one of them. Okay, number 6 here, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens looked fantastic on Monday night in New Orleans. The addition of Roquan Smith is looking to be a home run. The defense has been playing better the last few weeks, but they were flying around tonight. It was fantastic. Roquan Smith just adds another element of a guy who can shoot a gap, go make an open field tackle, make a play, wreak havoc for offenses, and he is a handful. It was a huge add for them. It really helped out the defense. Now, they did give up a couple of garbage scores late. I'm not going to count them against them. The defensive line got after it. The blitzes were great. They were sacking Dalton left and right. I know it's the Saints, but hey, man, you got to start somewhere. Offense is still good. They're pretty banged up in the backfield. No Mark Andrews, no problem. Isaiah Likely had a really strong game. Lamar is still Lamar. A couple of fantastic freak athletic plays. The question is, the way Lamar plays, how much do you want to pay him? He wants to be in Baltimore. They want to keep him. It's all a numbers game. I think they'll eventually keep him. You just don't want to give him that Deshaun Watson contract because it is a risk. There are some times in the game where this offense struggles to move the football, but a lot of offenses do. You just get worried about it. They've been known to blow some leads, but they didn't blow it last night, so the Ravens are definitely trending upward. If the defense can keep this up, they're now in the conversation as one of those elite AFC teams that could possibly make a trip to the Super Bowl. We'll have to see moving forward, but right now the Ravens are at 6, and they could definitely make a jump. Okay, these next 2 teams are kind of your teams in the NFC. Cowboys were on a bye this week, so I'm not going to move them up. Definitely not going to move them down here behind Baltimore. This has been a great football team. Their last showing last week, 2 weeks ago now, I guess at this point, against the Bears, was great. Their best offensive performance. Defense was a little shaky, gave up some yards to a running quarterback in Justin Fields, but it was good enough. I still am very adamant. You got to go with Tony Pollard as your main back. He's a home run hitter. He can bust off huge chunk yardage plays, and the defenses will be really afraid if they can run the football like this, and then Dak can push the ball downfield to CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. And don't look now, there are some strong rumors. The Cowboys are flirting very hard. They're almost looking a little too desperate here to pick up Odell Beckham Jr., which would be a massive add. It is concerning a little bit. We saw Dak with Dez Bryant force the football to Dez a lot where he didn't need to, but he was a much younger guy back then. So maybe Dak now, mature, older guy, isn't going to feel that heat, which is what you can't do. You can't just force it to a guy who's demanding the ball. You got to give what the defense gives to you. We saw little struggles early with Minnesota and Justin Jefferson and Cousins. They've moved away from that, and the offense has opened up much more. So I like this Dallas team. They play great defense. We didn't even talk about Micah Parsons. They lead the NFL in sacks, and they played 1 game less than all the teams at the top there. So fantastic defensive unit. I think they keep this going. We all know what the limiting factor of this team is, and it's Mike McCarthy. He's going to make a bad coaching decision. He's going to burn a timeout that you didn't need to do. They're going to call a bad play in a bad spot, and it's all going to fall apart. But for right now, Cowboys definitely one of the top teams in the NFC. There's no reason they can't be playing in the NFC Championship game. They're in the final tier. We're going to see in a couple weeks here. They got Green Bay coming up at Green Bay. And then this is the matchup I've been hyping up for weeks. They're going to be at Minnesota. These 2 teams, I think, are neck and neck as the other top 2 teams in the NFC. But for right now, Cowboys at 5. Okay, like I said, gonna keep my Vikings here at 4. Say what you want. They're playing nothing but close, ugly games against teams. The Commanders had just won 3 in a row. Commanders were a really hot football team. They played bad for 3.5 quarters, the Vikings, and they managed to come out with a win once again. All this team does is win last-second football games, and there's something to be said for that. If you can win one-score games, close games, if you haven't seen it, this is the closest every NFL game has been since like 1972 through the first 9 weeks. It's been ridiculous how close the scores have been. Everything is a one-score game. So if you can find a way to win these one-score games, you're a damn good football team. The Vikings are limited on defense, but it's been playing better the last 4 weeks. They're really dropping down the yards per play and the effective play average for opposing offenses. The secondary is much improved, and this defensive line is really starting to get after the quarterback. Zadarius Smith having a massive season, comeback player of the year, defensive player of the year talks. He's leading the NFL in sacks. He's really getting after opposing quarterbacks, and we're starting to see the reemergence of the star pass rusher, Danielle Hunter. 2 sacks this weekend. They're doing a really good job. The defense is a question mark, but they've been a lot better, especially late in football games. They forced turnovers. Harrison Smith with an interception for the 3rd straight game. Really, really good defensive unit when it needs to be, and the offense still feels like it hasn't reached its full potential. We all know Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, and they added TJ Hawkinson, who had a massive game, 9 catches, 9 targets, was big for them. And the offensive line is the weak point of this team, the interior of the offensive line. I like this Viking team a lot. I kind of have to. It's stressful every week, but if you can win close football games, you're good in this league. Cannot wait for them. They got a real stretch coming up here at Buffalo, Dallas, New England, and the Jets. It should be really for all the doubters out there, we'll really know what this Viking teams look like. I think this is a team could be playing for that final spot in the NFC Championship game. Okay, number 3, I'm going to drop the Bills down here to number 3. They lost to the Jets, man, and they did not look good in the second half. They really struggled to move the football. They're so Josh Allen reliant on offense. It's really going to hurt them, I think, down the stretch. They got to be able to run the football. They got to be able to take the easy throws to convert third downs. They can't just be so reliant on Josh Allen to make a ridiculous run, do a play, this, that, and the other. They have to find some balance. Defense is good. They really, really struggle, though, when the offense puts them in bad situations. They turn the ball over way too much, and now there's a big question mark around this injury. How long is Josh Allen out? Is he going to be out? We really just don't know. Buffalo's keeping it hush-hush there. So if he's out more than 4 weeks, they're in real deep shit here. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything on offense without Josh Allen. They got to get this fixed. This was a team that was a Super Bowl favorite, and they've really starting to trend back towards their problem areas. I don't think they're as good as the best team in the AFC now. I'd be concerned if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. Okay, number 2, I'm keeping them here. The Kansas City Chiefs. Great comeback win. Once again, Patrick Mahomes comes from behind, wins a football game. Hey, man, if you can struggle for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and then turn it on at the end there and go get what needs to be gotten and win the football game, you're a good football team. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes, fantastic plays on third down. He's making plays with his legs. Defenses, they just can't account for all the weapons, all the stuff they do. This is an elite football team. I expect them to be in the AFC Championship game. I now really like them to be in the Super Bowl. This is such a good unit. They're so well coached under Andy Reid. Andy Reid does not lose games off of the bye. So you're already looking at a team that could be the 1 seed and could be 1 win away from an AFC Championship game, hosting the AFC Championship game once again. So great football team. Chiefs fans, I know they hate it. They always kind of play sloppy some weeks and get the thing close, but they win every single one of these close games, which is what you want to see. So the Chiefs are probably the best team in the AFC. I got to keep them here at number 2 because, hey, number 1 is still looking like number 1. Okay, back on top again, your top team, the Philadelphia Eagles. What's to say about the Eagles? They're 8-0, the best start in franchise history. Fantastic, fantastic all around for the Eagles. This is such a complete football team. They play really good defense. They play good offense. They can run the football. They got good wide receivers that catch the ball. Jalen Hurts is playing really good at quarterback. This is just a really well-rounded unit. Are there some limiting factors? Yes. They struggled a bit against Houston in the first half. Hey, that happens. They took care of business. It's a short week on the road. Now they're getting Washington coming into town at home on Monday night. I expect them to be 9-0, maybe a close game, but man, Eagles team's very impressive. Say what you want about the competition they played. The schedule is the schedule. They've won all their games. They're a good football team. They're clearly the best team in the NFC, I think. They should be in the NFC Championship game. It's just a matter of who they're playing. The schedule is not any harder down the stretch. Their hardest game is definitely going to be at Dallas towards the end of the season. But by that point, who knows what Dallas is going to look like record-wise. If Dallas is 3 games back at that point, Dallas loses one more game, and Philly's undefeated, that win means nothing to Dallas. So Eagles can afford to lose a game here. They're still probably going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. They're your top dogs for week number 10. Okay, that's going to do it for us this week. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? I'm really starting to like this Eagles team. I'm down on the Bills, man. I cannot wait for the Vikings and Cowboys in 2 weeks. I know all my Cowboy fans feel the exact same way. That should be a fun game. We're already halfway through the season. It's going by way too fast, I know. If you haven't already, click that thumbs up, drop a like, really helps the video out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We got daily videos every day in the month of November, except for Sundays. We got to focus on the NFL. We got daily sports stat facts of the day shorts. We got live streams every Monday. And of course, we'll be back next Tuesday for the Week 11 of Pete's Power Rankings, and I'll see you guys then.